You do not attract wealth merely by wanting it. You attract it by becoming the kind of person in whose hands wealth can grow, remain, and serve a definite purpose. Long before money reaches your account, opportunity studies your habits. Cooperation studies your character. Responsibility studies your emotional control. The world watches how you manage small duties, how you speak under pressure, how you treat those who cannot advance you, and how faithfully you keep your word when no reward is visible. Wealth approaches a man through the impression he creates. That impression is not formed by clothing alone, nor by polished speech, nor by clever promises. It is formed by the invisible agreement between thought, conduct, and purpose. When these three move together, a man develops presence. He becomes difficult to ignore, not because he demands attention, but because he communicates readiness. Successful people understand this law. They know that wealth is not drawn toward noise. It is drawn toward usefulness, confidence, order, and reliability. They do not spend their lives begging opportunity to recognize them. They prepare themselves until opportunity feels safe in their presence. Look carefully at the atmosphere you carry. Do you enter a room hoping to be approved or prepared to contribute? Do you speak from knowledge or from the fear that silence may expose uncertainty? Do you approach others with a clear proposition or with a hidden demand that they rescue you from your own doubt? Your answers reveal whether your presence attracts cooperation or quietly repels it. A wealth-attracting presence begins with self-respect. Self-respect is not pride. Pride demands recognition before it has earned value. Self-respect is built through promises kept in private. It grows when you rise at the hour you selected. Complete the task you began. Control the appetite that weakens you and refuse the habit that steals your concentration. Each act tells the mind, my word has authority. A man who does not trust himself cannot inspire deep trust in others. He may persuade for a moment. He may impress through enthusiasm. He may conceal uncertainty behind forceful language. But sooner or later, his inner disorder appears. It appears in delayed work, careless accounts, broken agreements, changing plans, and emotional decisions. The presence of success cannot be performed for long. It must be constructed. You construct it each time you choose discipline over convenience. You construct it when you study instead of pretending to know. You construct it when you listen without becoming defensive. You construct it when you admit an error before the error becomes a habit. The world may not witness these decisions, but the decisions change the way you stand, speak, and respond. Inner command becomes outer authority. This is why successful people train their minds before they attempt to influence others. They understand that the first person who must be convinced is the self. If your own mind does not believe your purpose is definite, your voice will communicate hesitation. If you secretly expect defeat, your posture will carry apology. If you doubt your value, you will reduce your price, surrender your terms, and accept associations that weaken you. Your inner conversation becomes part of your financial reputation. Guard it. Do not repeatedly tell yourself that opportunity belongs only to the fortunate. Do not declare that money avoids you. Do not rehearse poverty until limitation becomes familiar. The subconscious mind does not argue with repeated emotion. It accepts the picture you present and begins influencing your behavior accordingly. The man who continually imagines rejection begins approaching others with fear. He speaks too quickly. He explains too much. He accepts hesitation as refusal. He withdraws before the other person has decided. He then calls the result bad fortune, never realizing that his own expectation entered the negotiation before him. Successful people discipline expectation. They do not assume every plan will succeed. They understand risk, opposition, and uncertainty, but they expect themselves to remain resourceful. Their confidence is not built upon the belief that nothing will go wrong. It is built upon the belief that they will think accurately when something does. This confidence creates calm. Calm is one of the strongest qualities in a wealthy presence. Money avoids panic because panic destroys judgment. Serious men hesitate to place responsibility near one who becomes unstable under pressure. A man may possess great ability, but if criticism makes him reckless, delay makes him bitter, or loss makes him dishonest, his ability becomes dangerous. The successful person develops emotional steadiness before the large opportunity arrives. He does not wait for wealth to teach him restraint. He practices restraint when the stakes are small. He does not wait for authority before learning patience. He practices patience with ordinary people and ordinary difficulties. He does not wait for public recognition before forming integrity. He behaves honorably when only conscience observes him. Small situations reveal large capacity. The manner in which you handle inconvenience predicts the manner in which you will handle responsibility. The way you manage a small sum predicts how you may manage a larger one. The respect you show toward a minor obligation predicts whether others can trust you with a major agreement. Successful people know that life tests readiness through details. They therefore make order visible in their conduct. Their appointments have meaning. Their promises have weight. Their work carries completion. They do not leave behind a trail of unfinished duties and call themselves ambitious. Ambition without order creates noise. Order turns ambition into force. A wealth-attracting presence also requires definiteness. Indecision weakens the impression you create because it communicates that your energy has no command. One day you pursue one aim. The next day you are captured by another. You speak with passion, but your passion has no endurance. People may enjoy your excitement, but they will hesitate to join you. Wealth seeks continuity. Money grows where plans are followed long enough for skill, reputation, and trust to compound. The successful man may change methods, but he does not abandon his central purpose whenever difficulty appears. His direction remains stable even while his approach improves. Definiteness gives the face, voice, and movement a certain force. A man with purpose does not waste words proving that he is serious. His concentration proves it. He does not chase every profitable appearance. He judges each opportunity according to whether it supports or distracts from the larger aim. This selectivity increases his value. The desperate man accepts everything. The purposeful man chooses. Choice communicates strength because it shows that appetite is under control. A man who cannot refuse a quick advantage cannot be trusted with a long-range plan. He will trade tomorrow for today. He will sacrifice reputation for immediate gain. He will abandon principle when temptation becomes profitable. Successful people understand that every opportunity has a price beyond money. Some opportunities cost peace. Some cost character. Some cost direction. Some appear profitable but require association with men whose habits will eventually bring disorder. A wealth-attracting presence includes the courage to say no. This refusal is not arrogance. It is protection of purpose. When you know what you are building, you become less impressed by what merely glitters. You stop confusing movement with advancement. You stop accepting every invitation as proof of progress. Restraint creates dignity. Dignity attracts serious cooperation because it reveals that you are not governed by desperation. You can negotiate without begging. You can listen without surrendering judgment. You can walk away without anger when an agreement is unworthy. The man who must have every opportunity becomes a servant to opportunity. The man who prepares, evaluates, and chooses becomes its master. Your presence is also shaped by the quality of your speech. Successful people do not waste their influence through careless words. They understand that every statement becomes evidence. Exaggeration may gain attention, but it reduces trust. Gossip may entertain, but it reveals uncertain loyalty. Constant complaint may attract sympathy, but it repels responsibility. Your words are financial instruments. Use them carefully. Speak accurately. Promise less than you can perform, then perform more than expected. Refuse to discuss confidential matters for the pleasure of appearing informed. Do not speak destructively about former associates because the listener will wonder how you may speak about him in his absence. Loyalty strengthens presence. So does discretion. The man who can keep confidence becomes worthy of greater confidence. The man who controls his tongue shows that he may also control sensitive information, serious plans, and private agreements. Wealth often travels through channels that remain closed to the careless speaker. A disciplined tongue protects opportunity. Yet silence alone does not create influence. You must also learn to speak constructively. A successful presence does not fill every conversation with obstacles. It does not deny difficulty, but it refuses to become fascinated by it. When a problem appears, the successful person directs attention toward cause, solution, responsibility, and action. People are drawn toward those who bring order into confusion. Become that person. When others panic, ask what is known. When others complain, ask what can be done. When others blame, ask what remains within control. These questions change the atmosphere. They move the mind from helplessness to action. A person who repeatedly produces this movement becomes valuable in every enterprise. Value attracts wealth, not appearance without substance, not confidence without competence, not ambition without service. Money follows a person who can solve problems, reduce waste, improve systems, strengthen morale, and create useful results. If you desire greater wealth, increase the quality of the problems you can solve. Do not ask only how can I earn more? Ask, how can I become more useful? This question turns desire into preparation. It causes you to study human needs. It improves your skill. It directs imagination towards service rather than fantasy. The world pays reluctantly for wishes but willingly for solutions. A wealth-attracting presence therefore communicates usefulness. People feel that your arrival improves the situation. You listen, you understand, you bring thought rather than confusion. You do not merely point toward weakness. You offer a path toward improvement. This does not mean you must always agree. Agreement without judgment weakens influence. Successful people can disagree without creating unnecessary hostility. They attack the problem, not the dignity of the person. They remain firm without becoming insulting. They recognize that cooperation is more valuable than the pleasure of winning an argument. The man who must prove himself right in every conversation may soon find himself right and alone. Wealth requires association. Association requires emotional intelligence. You must understand that every person carries motives, fears, pride, hopes, and private battles. If you approach people only through your own desire, you will fail to move them. Successful individuals learn to see from the other side. They ask what the other person values, what he fears losing, and what benefit he must recognize before cooperation becomes natural. Influence begins with understanding. This is not manipulation. Manipulation seeks advantage without concern for the other person. True influence creates mutual gain. It shows another person how cooperation can serve his purpose while serving yours. A wealth-attracting presence never feels like a trap. It feels like opportunity shared. This is why selfish ambition creates only temporary alliances. People may join where quick profit appears, but they remain suspicious. They sense when they are being used. At the first sign of difficulty, they withdraw because no deeper loyalty exists. Successful people build a purpose large enough to include others. They understand that achievement expands when cooperation expands. Their plans allow associates, customers, workers, and partners to see their own progress within the larger vision. This creates commitment beyond wages or convenience. The strongest presence says without speaking, I intend to rise, and those who cooperate honestly with me will not be reduced by my advancement. That spirit attracts ability. It attracts trust. It attracts men who possess knowledge you do not possess. No man becomes financially powerful by pretending to know everything. Pride closes the door to the mastermind principle. The successful person respects specialized knowledge. He seeks counsel. He listens to those whose experience can correct his blind spots. He does not feel diminished because another man knows more in a particular field. His purpose is achievement, not the protection of ego. Humility increases his capacity because it permits him to learn. But humility must not be confused with self-belittlement. The man who constantly reduces himself forces others either to reassure him or agree with him. Neither response creates confidence. True humility recognizes both strength and limitation accurately. It says, I know what I can do. I know what I must learn. I am prepared to improve. Accuracy creates trust. The successful person does not advertise perfection. He demonstrates growth, dependability, and willingness to correct error. Men can cooperate with an imperfect person who is honest and teachable. They cannot safely cooperate with a proud person who hides every weakness and resents every correction. Teachability strengthens personal magnetism because it keeps ability expanding. The moment a man believes he has nothing more to learn, decline begins. Your wealth-attracting presence must therefore remain alive, alert, and disciplined. It must carry confidence without arrogance, ambition without desperation, enthusiasm without exaggeration, and firmness without hostility. These qualities do not appear in a single day. They are formed through repetition. You become calm by practicing calm, You become dependable by keeping promises. You become influential by understanding others. You become valuable by solving problems. You become financially attractive by proving that money, trust, and responsibility can grow safely in your hands. Do not seek the appearance of success before building its foundation. Appearance may open one door, but character determines whether the next door opens. The world eventually discovers what a man repeatedly is. Become worth discovering. Begin with your internal atmosphere. Remove the complaint that weakens your expression. Remove the envy that poisons your attitude toward successful men. Remove the disorder that contradicts your ambition. Replace vague desire with definite purpose. Replace anxious talk with preparation. Replace the hunger for approval with useful service. As these corrections become habits, your presence will change. Your voice will gain weight because your word has become reliable. Your manner will become calm because your purpose no longer changes with opinion. Your eyes will carry confidence because you have repeatedly acted despite uncertainty. People will respond differently, but their response will only confirm the transformation already completed within. You will no longer enter the world asking wealth to choose you. You will enter prepared to create value, command cooperation, and direct opportunity. And when your presence begins attracting greater responsibility, the next test will be whether your habits can hold what your personality has attracted. Because wealth may approach a man through magnetism, but it remains only where discipline, service, and character give it reason to stay. And discipline is the test that begins after opportunity arrives. Many men prepare themselves to attract attention, but few prepare themselves to carry responsibility without weakening beneath it. They desire the door to open, yet they do not consider what will be demanded once they step through. They want larger income, wider influence, stronger associations, and greater authority. But they have not developed the habits required to protect those gains from waste, pride, disorder, and careless decision. This is why wealth does not remain merely because it has been attracted. It remains where character can govern it. A successful presence may bring an opportunity near, but only disciplined conduct can persuade that opportunity to stay. The world may be impressed by confidence, but it continues to cooperate only with reliability. It may be drawn toward enthusiasm, but it remains near the person whose enthusiasm survives inconvenience, delay, and resistance. You must therefore become more than attractive. You must become dependable. Dependability is one of the strongest financial forces a person can develop. It reduces doubt in the minds of others. It saves time. It strengthens agreements. It allows men to make decisions with greater confidence because they know your word will not change when pressure enters. The dependable person does not need to announce that he is dependable. His history announces it. He appears when he said he would appear. He completes what he agreed to complete. He does not disappear when the task becomes unpleasant. He does not excuse poor work by pointing toward difficulty. He either performs the duty or communicates honestly before the failure becomes a surprise. This habit creates financial value because uncertainty is expensive. Every business, partnership, and enterprise pays a price for unreliable conduct. Delays create loss. Confusion creates waste. Broken promises weaken morale. Careless speech damages trust. The person who reduces these costs becomes valuable even before his special ability is considered. Ask yourself whether your presence creates certainty. When your name is mentioned, do people expect completion or explanation? Do they expect order or confusion? Do they feel relief because responsibility has been placed in capable hands, or concern because they must continue watching you? These questions may be severe, but they reveal the truth behind financial progress. The successful person does not become offended by such examination. He uses it. He understands that wealth grows where waste is reduced, and personal unreliability is one of the greatest forms of waste. Correct it wherever it appears. This honesty strengthens the aura because a person who corrects himself becomes safer to trust. He does not require others to carry the burden of his improvement. He observes his own conduct, recognizes where value is being lost, and changes the habit before repeated failure hardens it into reputation. Reputation is slow to build and quick to injure. Guard it through consistency. One impressive act cannot replace a pattern of carelessness. One generous gesture cannot hide selfish behavior repeated over time. One successful agreement cannot erase a history of broken ones. The world may forgive an error, but it becomes cautious around a habit. Your presence gains weight when people can predict your principles. They know you will not sacrifice honesty for temporary advantage. They know you will not betray confidence for applause. They know you will not panic when conditions change. They know you will examine facts before speaking and consider consequences before promising. This predictability is not dullness. It is strength. Serious wealth avoids unstable character because instability threatens continuity. You must become emotionally dependable as well as practically dependable. People trust the one who remains useful when conditions become difficult. Anyone can appear pleasant when profit is easy. Anyone can speak of loyalty when sacrifice is not required. Character becomes visible when the agreement is tested, when delay enters, when credit is scarce, when criticism appears, and when the easier path invites betrayal. Your response in these moments becomes part of your financial aura. These memories become unseen recommendations. They travel farther than your own claims ever could. The successful person understands that people speak about conduct in rooms he will never enter. Therefore, he does not build reputation through advertisement alone. He builds it through behavior that survives his absence. This is the beginning of influence without force. When your conduct becomes known, doors begin to open through the confidence of others. One satisfied associate speaks to another. One promise kept becomes the foundation of a greater promise. One difficult situation handled with integrity becomes proof that larger responsibility may be placed in your hands. This is how wealth often approaches quietly, not as a sudden reward, but as increased trust. And increased trust creates access to information, resources, cooperation, and opportunity. Yet trust alone is not enough. You must also develop the ability to serve beyond expectation. The person who performs only the minimum remains replaceable. The person who studies how to improve the result becomes increasingly valuable. Do not merely ask what duty has been assigned. Ask what result is truly needed. A weak worker performs instructions mechanically and stops when the instructions end. A strong worker understands the purpose behind the instructions. He notices where delay may occur, where quality may be improved, where waste may be prevented, and where another person's burden may be reduced. This habit attracts advancement because it transforms labor into leadership. Leadership begins before title. It begins when a person accepts responsibility for the quality of the whole result, not merely the narrow portion placed directly before him. You develop a wealth-attracting presence when others feel that your mind remains awake. You observe, you anticipate, you solve. You do not wait for every difficulty to be named before acting upon it. Do not misuse it through arrogance. The moment a man begins believing that every success is proof of his superiority, his aura changes. Confidence hardens into pride. Listening disappears. Correction becomes offensive. Associates become instruments rather than partners. The very quality that attracted cooperation begins to repel it. Success contains a test more subtle than failure. Failure asks whether you will continue. Success asks whether you will remain teachable. Many men survive hardship but are destroyed by recognition. They endured obscurity because necessity kept them disciplined. Then applause arrived, and they began trusting praise more than principle. They spent to display success before they had secured it. They expanded to satisfy pride rather than demand. They surrounded themselves with agreement and removed anyone who spoke uncomfortable truth. Their presence became impressive but unsafe. Wealth began withdrawing long before the account revealed it. You must preserve humility as responsibility grows. Humility does not require you to deny your ability. It requires you to remember that ability must remain disciplined, improved, and directed toward service. It allows you to receive praise without becoming dependent upon it, and criticism without becoming destroyed by it. The humble person asks what remains to be learned. This question keeps growth alive. It also strengthens cooperation because capable people prefer to work with those who respect knowledge. No intelligent associate wishes to become the servant of another man's ego. He wants his experience heard, his skill used, and his contribution recognized. A wealth-attracting presence makes room for the strengths of others. It does not feel threatened by talent. It gathers talent. This is the foundation of organized cooperation. You cannot build beyond the limits of your own time and knowledge unless you learn to unite minds around a common purpose. The person who must dominate every conversation may win attention, but he will lose the benefit of other people's intelligence. Learn to ask useful questions. Listen for the answer. Do not interrupt merely to prove that you understand. Do not dismiss an idea because it did not originate with you. Judge by merit, not ownership. The successful person increases his power by allowing others to become powerful within the plan. This creates loyalty. People support what respects them. They give more energy to work in which their judgment has a place. They remain longer where advancement is shared. They protect an enterprise when they feel that the enterprise also protects their dignity. You attract wealth more strongly when your ambition creates room for others to rise. A narrow ambition says, "How much can I take?" A larger ambition says, "How much value can this cooperation create?" The second attracts stronger minds because it offers more than wages. It offers purpose, growth, and participation. Yet cooperation cannot survive without fairness. The man who claims all credit and distributes all blame destroys trust. The man who profits while refusing to honor the contribution of others may win once, but he weakens every future association. Be just in recognition. Be accurate in criticism. Reward value where value is created. Do not ask loyalty from those you continually reduce. Fairness creates a powerful atmosphere because it allows others to work without fearing that success will be used against them. They know the standard. They understand the agreement. They feel that effort has meaning. This stability increases productivity, and productivity strengthens wealth. Your aura, therefore, reaches beyond personal charm. It enters the system you create around yourself. If your habits produce confusion, those near you become confused. If your decisions change with mood, plans become unstable. If your standards are clear, fair, and consistent, others become more effective. Leadership multiplies the condition of the leader. A restless leader creates restless associates. A suspicious leader creates guarded associates. A disciplined leader creates order. A courageous leader gives others permission to act. Examine what your presence multiplies. This examination must include your attitude toward money. The successful person does not become careless merely because income increases. He understands that earning wealth and keeping wealth require different disciplines. Attraction brings money near. Management determines whether it remains. If increased income immediately produces increased waste, the man has not developed financial command. He is using money to relieve old insecurity rather than serve long-range purpose. He spends to be seen, lends to be praised, and risks to feel powerful. Such conduct reveals that wealth has entered his hands before maturity has entered his mind. Treat every increase as responsibility. Before expanding your manner of living, expand your understanding. Before placing money into an opportunity, study the opportunity. Before accepting another man's enthusiasm as evidence, examine facts, character, and consequences. Do not permit greed to impersonate courage. Courage accepts calculated risk for a worthy purpose. Greed ignores warning because it wants quick reward. A wealth-attracting presence can become a wealth-repelling presence the moment appetite overrules judgment. Control appetite. The desire for more must remain under the authority of definite purpose. Otherwise, no amount will produce peace. Each gain will create a larger hunger. Each success will become insufficient before it has been appreciated. Gratitude protects ambition from becoming slavery. Be grateful for progress without becoming satisfied with stagnation. Appreciate what has been built while continuing to improve it. This balance gives calm to your presence. You pursue growth without communicating desperation. Desperation repels wise cooperation. Purpose attracts it. The person of purpose can wait for sound terms. He can refuse a doubtful offer. He can continue working when profit is delayed. He is not forced into foolish decisions by the need to appear successful before others. He understands that financial achievement is not a performance. It is a structure, and structures endure only when foundations are respected. Dependability is foundation. Service is foundation. Emotional control is foundation. Fair cooperation is foundation. Financial restraint is foundation. These qualities may seem less exciting than quick opportunity, but they are the reason opportunity becomes permanent. As you practice them, your presence gains a different kind of force. It is no longer merely attractive, it becomes trustworthy. People do not simply enjoy meeting you, they feel confident building with you. They know that your enthusiasm has discipline behind it. Your ambition has service within it, and your promises have conduct beneath them. That is when financial opportunity begins to move from occasional contact into lasting association. And once lasting association is formed, another question arises. Can you maintain your wealth-attracting presence when opposition appears, when competitors challenge you, when criticism becomes public, and when success itself creates new enemies? For character must not only attract and hold opportunity, it must remain strong enough to protect purpose without becoming hardened, suspicious, or hostile. And this is where many promising men lose the very quality that first attracted opportunity. They learn how to appear confident while conditions are favorable, but they have not learned how to remain composed when their motives are questioned, their methods are challenged, or their success awakens opposition. They begin with warmth, usefulness, and cooperation. Then resistance appears, and their personality changes. They become suspicious. They speak defensively. They mistake every disagreement for disloyalty and every competitor for an enemy. Do not permit opposition to poison your presence. The greater your progress, the more likely you are to be observed, judged, misunderstood, and challenged. This is not always evidence that you've done something wrong. Visibility attracts examination. Achievement creates comparison. Responsibility exposes your decisions to people who do not understand the conditions under which those decisions were made. If you are unprepared for this, criticism will begin directing your conduct. You will make decisions to silence people rather than strengthen your purpose. You will alter sound plans because impatient observers demand immediate results. You will waste valuable energy answering every rumor, correcting every opinion, and defending yourself before men who have already decided not to understand. The successful person does not surrender his attention so easily. He separates criticism into two classes: that which contains instruction and that which contains only noise. He examines the first, he ignores the second. This requires judgment because criticism often arrives in an unpleasant tone. Pride may reject useful truth simply because the speaker delivered it without kindness. A disciplined person learns to remove the manner and examine the message. If there is truth within it, he uses the truth without giving authority to the hostility. Do not become so proud that an enemy cannot teach you. At the same time, do not become so uncertain that every critic becomes your advisor. Test criticism against facts, principles, and results. Ask whether it reveals a weakness that has been overlooked. Ask whether the speaker understands the matter or merely reacts to appearances. Ask whether the advice serves the definite purpose or pulls you away from it. Then decide. A wealth-attracting presence is strengthened by the ability to receive correction without collapse. Men trust the person who can admit error because such a person is less likely to hide a dangerous weakness. The man who must appear right at all times eventually becomes unsafe. He protects his image while the problem grows. Admit the mistake quickly. Correct it thoroughly. Then move forward without endless apology. There's no dignity in pretending perfection. There is dignity in refusing to repeat an error after it has been clearly understood. This honesty protects financial reputation because serious associates know that no enterprise is free from mistakes. They do not expect perfection. They expect responsibility. They want to know that when difficulty appears, you will not conceal facts, blame others, or abandon the agreement. Your conduct under error becomes more important than the error itself. The same is true of competition. Competition does not have to make you hostile. It can make you more exact. It can reveal where your service is weak, where your methods are slow, where your quality has fallen, or where another person understands the public more clearly than you do. The insecure man hates competition because he believes another man's strength reduces his own. The secure man studies it. He asks what can be learned without surrendering originality. He improves his value rather than wasting time attacking another person's reputation. Never build your influence by tearing down another man. You may gain temporary attention, but you advertise fear. The public senses when criticism is driven by insecurity. Associates sense when a leader is threatened by ability. Such behavior weakens aura because it shows that confidence depends upon the absence of comparison. True confidence can stand beside another man's excellence without becoming smaller. It respects worthy competition. It learns. It improves. Then it returns to work. The person who continually speaks against competitors gives them space in his own mind. He allows them to choose the subject of his conversation and the direction of his energy. He becomes reactive instead of creative. Keep your attention upon service. Ask how you can provide greater value, clearer communication, stronger reliability, and better results. The market rewards improvement more consistently than complaint. Your presence becomes powerful when people feel that you are too occupied with construction to become consumed by rivalry. This does not mean ignoring danger. Some competitors will act without honor. Some associates will attempt deception. Some people will use kindness as an invitation to exploit. A pleasing personality must never become a weak personality. Courtesy does not require blindness. Generosity does not require foolishness. Forgiveness does not require repeated trust without evidence. The successful person combines warmth with discernment. He gives respect freely, but confidence gradually. He judges character through repeated conduct. He observes how a person behaves when money is involved, when pressure arrives, and when no advantage remains in pretending loyalty. Words introduce character. Pressure reveals it. Protect your plans by choosing associations carefully. One undisciplined or dishonest associate can weaken years of reputation. The world may judge the entire enterprise by the conduct of one person who represents it. Do not unite with another merely because he appears enthusiastic. Study whether his habits agree with the purpose. Does he keep his word? Does he control his speech? Does he remain loyal when no immediate benefit is present? Can he accept correction? Does he handle money with care? Does he respect those who possess less power? These questions reveal more than charm ever will. Association multiplies influence, but it also multiplies weakness. The character of those near you enters the atmosphere around your name. Choose slowly, then cooperate fully. Suspicion should not become your permanent state because constant suspicion destroys the very cooperation financial growth requires. A man betrayed once may become so guarded that no worthy person can reach him. He tells himself he is being wise, but fear has merely changed its clothing. Discernment evaluates evidence. Suspicion assumes guilt before evidence. Know the difference. The successful person does not carry an old betrayal into every new relationship. He retains the lesson while releasing the poison. He creates clear agreements, observes conduct, and allows trust to grow according to proof. This balance preserves both wisdom and openness. A closed personality may protect itself from some injury, but it also closes the door to assistance, ideas, friendship, and opportunity. Wealth rarely grows around a man who can cooperate with no one. You must remain approachable without becoming easily controlled. This quality is rare. It allows others to speak honestly in your presence. It gives capable people room to contribute. It prevents fear from surrounding your position with silence. A leader who punishes every disagreement eventually hears only agreement. And agreement without truth becomes dangerous. Invite honest thought. Do not demand praise. A strong presence does not need constant confirmation. It can listen to another opinion without treating it as rebellion. It can allow a better idea to replace its own without feeling humiliated. This freedom from ego attracts intelligent associates because they know their minds will not be wasted. You become more powerful by making truth welcome. But truth must also be spoken with discipline. Directness is valuable, yet harshness is often merely uncontrolled emotion disguised as honesty. The successful person does not use truth as a weapon for humiliating others. He speaks clearly while preserving dignity. Correction should improve conduct, not satisfy anger. When criticism must be given, make it accurate. Address the action, the standard, and the required change. Do not attack the entire character of the person because of one error. Do not correct publicly what can be corrected privately. Do not allow irritation to add unnecessary injury. People remember how authority treated them in moments of weakness. A leader who corrects fairly strengthens loyalty. A leader who humiliates creates hidden resistance. That resistance may not appear immediately, but it weakens the enterprise from within. Your wealth-attracting presence therefore depends upon the emotional atmosphere you create around responsibility. Do people feel that errors can be admitted and corrected, Or do they hide problems because they fear your reaction? Do they bring you bad news early or wait until the damage has become severe? The answer reveals the quality of your leadership. If people fear your temper more than they respect the truth, your authority has become expensive. Control your response. The first report may be incomplete. The first explanation may contain confusion. Anger narrows judgment. At the moment, judgment is most needed. Pause. Ask questions. Separate facts from assumptions. Decide after understanding. Calm under pressure is not softness. It is efficiency. It prevents unnecessary damage. It preserves thought. It allows the mind to choose the action that serves the long-range purpose rather than the emotion of the moment. Every crisis becomes an examination of your presence. People watch how you carry uncertainty. They listen to the tone of your voice. They observe whether you distribute panic or direction. If you become disordered, disorder spreads. If you remain steady, others recover their ability to think. This is why calm leadership has financial value. It protects labor, time, confidence, and cooperation. A single uncontrolled reaction may drive away an able associate, destroy an agreement, or turn a correctable problem into a permanent division. A measured response may save all three. Train yourself before crisis comes. Practice patience in ordinary delays. Practice restraint in small disagreements. Practice listening when the matter seems unimportant. Habits formed in minor moments will govern you when the stakes become serious. You cannot borrow composure at the hour of need. You must bring it with you. Successful people also protect their presence from the intoxication of public recognition. As achievement grows, more people may praise, approach, and agree. This creates a subtle danger. The man begins believing that attention is evidence of wisdom. He becomes less careful because applause makes him feel protected. But applause has no power to correct error. It may conceal error. Never allow recognition to separate you from reality. Continue measuring by results, principles, and service. Continue listening to those who spoke honestly before your success became useful to them. Continue performing small disciplines that built the larger opportunity. Do not become a stranger to the habits that made you valuable. Many men lose their financial magnetism because success changes the way they treat people. They become impatient with those who cannot advance them. They forget old obligations. They begin using status as a substitute for courtesy. This transformation does not go unnoticed. The public may admire position, but people remember treatment. The man who becomes arrogant after success reveals that humility was never character. It was merely necessity. Remain respectful. The person standing before you may possess no immediate advantage to offer, but your conduct toward him still shapes your own nature. Each act of contempt trains arrogance. Each act of respect strengthens command. A wealth-attracting presence does not change according to the rank of the person nearby. It remains governed by principle. This consistency creates dignity. People sense that your courtesy is not manipulation because it is not reserved only for the powerful. True influence is not the ability to impress those above you. It is the ability to elevate the atmosphere around everyone you meet. This does not mean giving every person unlimited time or access. Success requires boundaries. You must protect concentration from constant interruption, but boundaries can be firm without becoming insulting. Say no clearly. Decline without false promises. Do not create unnecessary hope merely because you fear appearing unpleasant. Honest refusal is more respectful than delayed deception. The ability to say no also protects financial direction. As your reputation grows, more proposals will appear. Some will be worthy. Many will merely seek access to your energy, name, resources, or influence. Every opportunity is not your opportunity. Examine whether it agrees with your definite purpose. Consider the character of those involved. Measure the possible reward against the distraction it creates. A profitable invitation may still be costly if it divides attention from the work that built your strength. Concentration must be guarded. Scattered success soon becomes scattered failure. The successful person learns that greater opportunity requires greater selectivity. He cannot attend every gathering, answer every demand, or participate in every promising plan. He chooses according to purpose, not guilt or vanity. This selectivity strengthens aura because it preserves quality. When he gives attention, it is real. When he makes a promise, it can be fulfilled. He does not weaken his word through overcommitment. A man who says yes to everyone eventually disappoints everyone. Discipline creates space for dependable service, and dependable service remains a heart of financial attraction. No amount of charm can replace the habit of producing useful results. No reputation can survive indefinitely without renewed value. The successful person continues asking how his work can improve. He studies changing needs without becoming a servant to every passing fashion. He protects principles while adapting methods. This flexibility prevents success from becoming stale. Rigidity often appears after achievement because the man begins worshiping the method that once worked. He refuses correction. He confuses past success with permanent law. Then conditions change, but he does not. A strong purpose may remain constant while methods evolve. Adaptation is not betrayal, it is intelligence. Observe results, study causes, remove what no longer serves, preserve what remains true. The wealth-attracting person is not attached to appearing consistent in every method. He is committed to remaining effective in service of the purpose. This keeps his presence alive. People feel movement around him, but not confusion. They sense progress without instability. He can change direction tactically while remaining firm strategically. Such a man is difficult to defeat because he is neither rigid nor easily distracted. He learns from competition without imitating it. He receives criticism without surrendering to it. He protects himself without becoming closed. He leads firmly without humiliating. He succeeds without becoming arrogant. These balances create mature financial influence, and as they deepen, his presence begins to produce something greater than attraction. It begins to create assurance. Others feel that even when conditions change, he will continue thinking. Even when opposition appears, he will not lose direction. Even when profit is delayed, he will not sacrifice character. That assurance draws larger responsibility. But larger responsibility carries a final examination. Can a man use influence without allowing influence to use him? Can he direct wealth without making wealth his identity? Can he remain inwardly free while outward power increases? For the strongest wealth-attracting presence is not measured only by what it gathers, but by whether the man remains master of himself after everything he once desired begins gathering around him. And self-mastery is the final source of a wealth-attracting presence. Without it, money magnifies weakness. Authority enlarges pride, and influence turns appetite into command. A man may attract opportunity through confidence, usefulness, and pleasing cooperation, yet lose everything if success enters his life before discipline has become permanent. You must never allow possession to become identity. Money is something you direct. It is not what you are. Possession is something you occupy. It is not the measure of your worth. Recognition is something others give and may later withdraw. It must never become the foundation of your peace. The man who makes wealth his identity becomes frightened the moment conditions change. Every loss feels like personal destruction. Every competitor becomes a threat. Every criticism feels like an attack upon his existence. He begins protecting appearance instead of improving substance. This fear weakens presence. People sense when confidence depends upon possessions. They feel the tension behind the display. They recognize the difference between a man who owns wealth and a man who is owned by it. Remain inwardly independent. Use money to strengthen freedom, usefulness, knowledge, and service. Do not use it merely to enlarge vanity. The desire to impress creates waste because vanity is never satisfied. It requires a larger house, a louder display, a wider audience, and constant proof that success still exists. True prosperity is quieter. It gives a man greater command of his time, wider ability to serve, and increased power to carry out a definite purpose. It does not force him to perform success before the crowd. It allows him to build without apology. This quiet command strengthens aura because it removes desperation. The man no longer needs every person to recognize him. He no longer enters every room seeking confirmation. He knows what he has built, what he still must learn, and what purpose his resources serve. His confidence becomes settled. Settled confidence attracts serious people because it creates peace around decision. It does not rush. It does not exaggerate. It does not become intoxicated by praise or weakened by delay. Protect this steadiness. As influence grows, you will meet more people who agree with you for personal advantage. Some will praise your judgment because they desire access. Others will imitate loyalty while conditions remain profitable. Do not become cynical, but remain observant. Judge people by repeated conduct. Watch how they behave when you cannot immediately reward them. Watch how they speak of those who are absent. Watch whether they bring truth or only approval. The associate who always agrees may be more dangerous than the one who respectfully questions. Keep near you those who strengthen judgment. A powerful presence does not require a circle of admiration. It requires a circle of truth. The mastermind principle operates only where each mind contributes honestly. If fear prevents disagreement, cooperation becomes ceremony rather than strength. Welcome correction before circumstances force it upon you. This habit preserves wealth because it reveals weakness, while weakness can still be repaired. The proud man hides problems until they become public. The disciplined man invites examination, while correction remains inexpensive. You must also decide what success will mean before success arrives. If you do not define enough, appetite will define it for you. There will always be another amount, another position, another victory. Ambition without a governing purpose becomes endless hunger. A successful presence is powerful because desire is controlled by meaning. The man knows what he is building and why. He knows which gains are useful and which merely distract. He can stop pursuing one opportunity because a greater responsibility deserves his attention. He can rest without guilt because rest protects future effectiveness. He can give without fear because his sense of abundance is not limited to possession. Generosity, when guided by judgment, strengthens financial magnetism. It communicates that wealth is flowing through purpose rather than being imprisoned by fear. But generosity must be intelligent. Giving to support weakness may increase weakness. Giving to encourage initiative, education, and useful service creates strength. Do not give merely to be praised. Do not refuse merely from fear of loss. Let principle decide. The mature person understands that every use of money expresses character. Saving reveals foresight. Investment reveals judgment. Spending reveals priority. Giving reveals motive. Waste reveals lack of command. Your financial habits are part of your aura. They speak even when no one sees the account. They shape your confidence because the mind knows whether money is being directed wisely or merely used to satisfy impulse. Order creates peace. When obligations are understood, resources are measured, and plans are made with care. Anxiety decreases. That inner peace enters the voice and manner. The man becomes less easily pressured because he is not continually escaping from disorder of his own creation. Financial order strengthens personal power. So does continuous growth. Never believe that success gives permission to stop learning. The world continues changing. Methods improve. Needs develop. New forms of service appear. The person who remains curious remains useful. Study beyond immediate necessity. Read with purpose. Observe human behavior. Learn why enterprises grow and why they collapse. Examine your own decisions without excuse. Knowledge disciplined by experience increases confidence because it gives the mind more material with which to solve problems. But knowledge alone is not presence. Knowledge must be joined with courage. A man may understand every principle and still fail to act. Fear may keep wisdom locked within him. Wealth moves toward applied knowledge, not knowledge stored in silence. Decide, act after preparation, accept that no plan carries complete certainty. The wealth-attracting person does not wait until all danger disappears. He gathers facts, consults experience, considers consequences, and then moves with decision. Decision gives force to presence. Indecision scatters it. Once a sound decision has been made, support it with persistence. Do not reconsider the entire purpose every time discomfort appears. Adjust the method when evidence demands it, but do not allow temporary opposition to dissolve commitment. People trust those whose direction remains stable. They invest energy where continuity exists. They cooperate when they believe the plan will not be abandoned at the first difficulty. Persistence, therefore, becomes visible magnetism. It tells the world that your enthusiasm is not temporary. It tells associates that sacrifice will not be wasted. It tells opportunity that you possess the patience to develop what has been placed in your hands. This is how successful people create a wealth-attracting presence. They do not merely appear prosperous. They become orderly. They become useful. They become emotionally controlled. They become accurate in speech, dependable in conduct, fair in cooperation, selective in association, and definite in purpose. Their presence attracts because it promises value. It holds because it proves character. It expands because it creates opportunity for others. And it endures because the man remains master of himself. Do not begin by asking how to look successful. Begin by asking what success must safely trust. Build that quality into your habits. Let your word gain weight. Let your work gain completeness. Let your judgment gain patience. Let your ambition gain service. Let your confidence gain humility. When these qualities agree within you, your presence changes naturally. You no longer chase cooperation with anxiety. You no longer force recognition. People begin to sense order, possibility, and reliability around you. Wealth is attracted to that atmosphere because wealth seeks direction. Achievement is attracted to that atmosphere because achievement requires endurance. Influence is attracted to that atmosphere because influence follows character. Become the person whose presence says without boost, what enters my hands will be directed with wisdom. What responsibility reaches me will be carried with discipline. What cooperation is given to me will be honored with service. Then opportunity will not merely visit. It will recognize a place where it can remain, multiply, and fulfill a purpose greater than possession alone.